That's right.
Reporting live from the wreckage that was the Battle of Blackwater.
There's shit everywhere! Shit!
It's just so much shit! We had so much, we used it in the war!
Hey dude, you know those dead bodies, they shit themselves, so there would have been shit everywhere.
Oh my god, that poor beach.
I know.
I hope there's no turtles on that beach.
It's like, we used to go play at that beach, now it's just covered in shit. The water is actually black now. Or brown.
Whoa! Oh my god. We have a Transformers Fall of Cybertron cinematic reveal trailer that I did not see yesterday.
This isn't Good Morning Cybertron, George.
But it is video games.
That's true.
All gaming is important to me.
Welcome to Good Morning Cybertron.
And, come on, we have a Dinobot in this one.
Wait, George. I'm gonna be Josh in Good Morning Cybertron. Ready? Here I go.
Wait a minute, listen to this. That's fucking Linkin Park, isn't it?
I would say something, but I'm being Josh right now, and he doesn't say
anything.
anything.
Yeah, I know, I understand. You had, with Josh on, he doesn't say a word.
No, what is this is that he's thinking really hard.
And hoping to just understand what he's thinking.
He wants the audience to communicate with him mentally. That's all it is.
This is like the most emotional love scene between Optimus and Bumblebee. That's what I'm watching here.
Optimus and Bumblebee gay lovers.
That's what I'm seeing. Because they rescued Bumblebee because his voice box got ripped out. And he carries him over to the side of the battlefield and rests him down.
Bumblebee, there's something I have to tell you. And then Bumblebee does like a radio thing, and it's like, and I will always love you.
Oh, I thought it was like, you turn my software into hardware.
Yeah, hey, nicely done. That sounds like you thought about that for a long time.
Nope, about 3 seconds.
Well, I guess you're used to doing things in about 3 seconds. So.
Oh, fuck you.
Your girlfriend's definitely used to that.
Dinobot! Fucking Dinobot, hell yes. I'm excited. I have wood. I mean metal. I don't know.
Same thing.
Oh, that was awesome. Okay, I'm happy. Satisfied.
People, welcome to Geek Meets World episode 10! We made it! We made it! Actually, we recorded 11 episodes, but we lost the infamous first episode.
It's really not that famous or infamous, so you know what, who cares?
It's just us. It just existed.
Yeah, it was there.
It did happen. It's not just a myth, this I've heard. It was real. I was there. But we made it. 10 fucking episodes, and I guess half of them have just been me and George.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We've been keeping consistency going, and we've recorded at least a podcast a week, I think now. At least one a week. Sometimes 2. This week we recorded 2 if you count in days, because we recorded, on Saturday?
Yeah, so, fine, that's fine by me, whatever. We're trying to make it up to you guys. Anyway, this is, what? A big deal.
Yeah, this is a big fucking deal. I mean, it's our first,
double digit?
Yeah, and it's also our first, we made it to some kind of goal.
Milestone?
Yeah, milestone. We made it to 10. The next would probably be 20, because fuck 15.
Now, peeps, a big goal of today, Game of Thrones. Season finale review.
Also, gotta bring this up, Game of Thrones had 10 episodes this season, so thus, since this episode is our 10th episode, we coincide with Game of Thrones' 10th episode of Season 2.
Which works for me.
Not a coincidence, but
now,
great.
Before we do that, though, we have to talk about other shit.
Yes.
Because there's other shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Big shit. Not that little rabbit turd shit. Big dump.
Yeah, it's so much shit. Some of it's diarrhea, but some of it's real solid shit.
It's like you ate so much habanero that you're in the can, bro. That's all.
Basically. I'm going to talk about, this actually does connect to the Game of Thrones. Sunday night was a busy fucking night for television. Basketball was on, MTV Movie Awards were on, Game of Thrones was having its season finale, there was some other shit on that I was hearing about. Basically,
Teen Wolf had a season premiere.
There was a lot of shit going on Sunday on television, so you had to kind of pick where you wanted to go. I wanted to watch MTV Movie Awards, not because I particularly like them, just because I'm such a media whore that I do watch pretty much anything that has to relate to movies or anything, and sadly...
You're seriously media whore.
Yeah,
That's not a joke.
Serious media whore. And sadly, MTV Movie Awards falls under that category. And it was hosted by Russell Brand again, who, if I had to say, if I had to give him a rating, I'd give him like a 4. I thought he did a very mediocre job, but he was getting no help from the audience, whatsoever. There was barely any laughter.
You know what? I say ignore that, because, it's within the next couple of months he's getting his show on FX.
That's true. Yeah, but I just don't think... The thing about the awards this year, because I watched Game of Thrones and I couldn't watch MTV Awards, and I only wanted to watch it for the Dark Knight Rises footage.
Which was amazing.
That was did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So basically, which I'm just going to say right now before I get to that, what I felt, was to me the single best trailer released for that movie yet, hands down. Just
Hell yeah.
Getting money shots and shit that I was surprised by, and actually selling me on Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
I want to say the best part of that was they did not repeat scenes from previous trailers.
They maybe showed a couple seconds of stuff we had seen before, but for the most part, it was new shit, new music, new dialogue. I mean, and like I said...
Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, but...
That's a fan favorite for me.
Let me talk a little about the pre-awards before we got to the presentation. Usually the MTV Awards have a lot of skits and like a lot of stuff going on. This year was very quiet because I think celebrities don't want to show up to these awards for two big reasons. One, it's fucking MTV. Two, they have a voting system where they let the audience vote for the movies, and thus it's mostly 15-year-old girls. This is why Twilight has won Best Picture for the last, I guess, 4 years.
5, I think.
Yeah, and once again, Twilight won Best Picture this year. Even though Hunger Games came very close, because Hunger Games had won actress, actor, fight scene. Hunger Games and Twilight. In fact, Russell Brand throughout the entire award show kept going, Hunger Games, Twilight! Hunger Games, Twilight! Because that's all it was. That's all it was all night. It was fucking Hunger Games and Twilight. And it makes your award show boring, because when you go in knowing what's going to win, because of your audience voting, it just makes it fucking uneventful. Why would someone else show up to your award show if they know that Twilight's going to win all the awards, or Hunger Games? You make it uninteresting, and you make it just made for that audience of 15-year-old girls. You're keeping people from, like me and George, we're not entirely haters. We would watch the show if genre stuff could win, like if Batman won, we'd watch it. But when Robert Pattinson beats Heath Ledger for Best Actor, it looks like a fucking joke. Your award show.
It is. Well, I know you don't like Robert Pattinson.
But winning for Twilight, I'm sorry.
No, not for Twilight. I agree. For anything else he's done, maybe.
Winning for Twilight against Heath Ledger as the Joker that year was like, really? I mean, come on, people. There's sometimes when there's a bit of a stretch there. But the highlights were Johnny Depp came out and won a Generation Award, and he played guitar with the Black Keys and played a couple songs, and it was actually pretty sweet. I gotta admit, because I
didn't know Johnny Depp could play guitar.
Yeah, apparently he first moved to L.A. when he was like 13 to be a musician in a band to play guitar, and then he just ended up becoming an actor. But yeah, he played with the Black Keys. That was pretty cool. There was this great skit with Joe McHale where he taught people archery. He was like the #1 guy teaching archery for movies, and it had J.J. Abrams and Jennifer Lawrence on there talking about how he's such an asshole, and it was fucking funny.
Emma Stone.
Yeah, it was worth... Yeah, and Emma Stone, anything with her was good.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, everything with Emma Stone was funny and on point. The rest of the show sucked balls. And what's funny to me is that I didn't watch it all because I was waiting for the Dark Knight Rises footage the first time it was on, but I was like, oh shit, I gotta go watch Game of Thrones. And then I had to watch another show, Girls. And so then I stayed up till... It came on again at midnight. I stayed up till midnight to watch it again. And fucking pissed me off. The Dark Knight Rises footage wasn't until like the last 15 minutes of the show.
Oh, I could have told you that.
I didn't know that. So I had to stay up till... So I'm sitting there watching 2 hours of shit to get to the last 15 minutes. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I tell people I had to go to work the next day. I did not want to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching the fucking MTV Movie Awards. So, if anybody doesn't know, I'm a huge Batman, Chris Nolan, like, this is my movie. It really, funny how this worked out. It starts off, Christian Bale comes out with Gary Oldman, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They introduce this stuff, and they're like, now we're going to show you footage of the Batman stuff, and I get all excited. And then they just show a montage of Batman Begins in the Dark Knight, which pissed me off, because I was like, wait, is this all we're going to get? And Christian Bale starts crying, thinking about Heath Ledger. And legit crying, and
I missed that.
Yeah, it happened when they were presenting it. Everybody kept talking about it. He said, oh, it was good to see Heath, and then he kind of looks down, and he gets teary-eyed. And I don't know if it was bullshit, or if he was actually sad, thinking about Heath Ledger. But anyway, I was getting pissed. I was like, you guys better show me something I haven't seen before. And then Christopher Nolan came out, which I did not expect to happen. He presented new footage, and it was badass footage. It was like a minute and a half of Dark Knight Rises footage that we hadn't seen before, and I loved every single bit of it. They've taken it off the internet now, like Warner Brothers keeps saying that it's illegal, but for about a day it was on the internet and everybody watched it.
Yeah.
And awesome ass footage. I mean, this isn't a Batman episode, but all I could say is that it sold me on Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. There's one scene in particular where she says, "Don't be shy." That is pitch perfect. The action scenes look awesome. There's a scene where Bane's just like shirtless in this room, like just like leaning down. I don't know what the hell he's doing, and it just made the movie look like it was more epic with action scenes. And George, did you notice the part too that I thought was badass when Catwoman walked up to the guy and she's like, "He's behind you," and then the guy goes,
"Yeah,
me," which is stealthy Batman, which is what I want to see more of, stealthy Batman. So overall, the MTV Movie Awards sucked. It was like a terrible award show, but the Batman footage kind of made it all worthwhile. On a Sunday night that was very eventful. But that's George. What have you been doing media wise? What did you do besides game?
Media wise, I watched some of what E3 streamed.
Oh, that's right. E3 has started now.
So we got a trailer for Need for Speed Most Wanted by Criterion. Sadly, I think they fucked it up, and I don't think they're going to allow customization like the original Most Wanted, which is one of the things that everybody loves out of it.
Right.
So, excited, but not. They showed some gameplay, and it looked amazing, I'm not going to lie. So, I guess that's up in the air for me. We got a cinematic Assassin's Creed 3 trailer, which blew my nerded out, geeked out mind.
Yes.
We got announced Dead Space 3. For those of you who don't know, I am an avid fucking supporter of Dead Space. It is my favorite video game series because it still sticks to a good length and perfect fucking story. So, right. I love Dead Space. I'm finally getting a Dead Space 3. I'm very excited. You Xbox guys, you got Halo 4.
Honestly,
I'm going to be honest. I watched that trailer. I loved that trailer.
Well, you know, I'm very interested in Halo 4 because Bungie did not make this one, so it's going to be a different...
I don't know. I know Last of Us got another trailer, I think. I didn't watch it. I don't really have all that much interest in the game, but it looks cool. I mean... let's see. Forza Horizon for all you racing nerds. Warfighter looked pretty cool. Let's see here.
So far there hasn't really been anything for me that got me that excited.
Well, I'm excited for Black Ops 2. I saw the Medal of Honor trailer. I said Warfighter. I didn't realize it was Medal of Honor. I watched that gameplay and trailer, and again, looked amazing.
Yeah.
So for any Medal of Honor fans, there you go. Far Cry 3, don't know, don't really care.
Yeah, I've only played like one Far Cry game, and I can't...
New Gears of War, again, Xbox junkies. I am not one of you.
Cool.
Let's see here. I know there was something else big, but they gave a demonstration of the new Nintendo the Wii U.
Yeah, which I heard was criticized heavily for its design.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I read nothing but negative comments about the Wii U.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's iffy for me.
I mean, it's Nintendo, and I think everybody should have learned a long time ago to doubt Nintendo whenever they come out with something.
The problem is, Nintendo's all about family, so it doesn't matter how we feel. It can be family-oriented, and for all those tight-knit families, you get that.
Yeah, basically what we're saying is, even though gamers may not be like on the Nintendo bandwagon right now, Nintendo's still going to make probably more money off this thing than what other companies are going to make.
Oh, and no matter what, I don't care. Every gamer is going to show up to the Wii U. They're going to buy it specifically because they'll end up coming out with a Zelda game, and we all know you can't resist.
It's true. Nintendo has some franchises under their belt that just can't be resisted. I know, you know as well as I do. As soon as another Super Smash Bros. Game comes out, that's going to be all everybody's fucking playing online and shit. I mean, when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out, that took over.
No offense, but I would probably buy a Wii U just for a new Super Smash.
You know they're gonna get that because that's one of those franchises that when they come out with a new one.
Oh, I know.
People buy the console just to play a Super Smash Bros. Game because so far for me they've been perfect on the Super Smash Bros.
I have a Wii. I have 3 games for it. I have the Wii Sports that came with it. I have Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and I have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. That is it.
I mean, my thing with the Wii is I've owned one since it came out, and I've played a lot of games on it, and I've liked most of the games I played that were made for the Wii. When they make games that were made for other consoles too, and they do the Wii, yeah, it sucks. Because the controls don't work right like they should. But when a game's made for the Wii, like Super Mario Galaxy or something,
yeah,
or Super Smash Brothers, awesome. Totally love it.
I feel the need to point this out since I mentioned it, but I didn't really talk about it. Again, they have a Transformers Fall of Cybertron cinematic reveal trailer, which looked amazing. And I'm going to mention this because it's a game series that I've always wanted to play, but I have never done it, and I'm disappointed in myself for that. Pikmin. We got a Pikmin 3.
Okay.
I've heard nothing but good things about the Pikmin series. I have a lot of friends who love the Pikmin series, but I've never played it. Slightly disappointed in myself for that, but they're apparently talking about it at E3. I'm guessing today they did it.
Yeah.
Early this morning.
Yeah, I don't watch G4 much anymore, so I haven't been following it.
I've been streaming it online for the most part, because GameSpot has it up.
I'll just say right now, I wish I was there.
Yeah, I feel you there.
But yeah, like me and George were talking earlier, they pretty much they keep the public away from E3 now. It's just media outlets and people who work for companies, and so now. The only way we really get to experience E3 is from, watching streaming and stuff. But it's still like a fun week because we basically, 10 years ago, it wasn't easy to find out all this information. Now, how the internet works, we can watch videos straight from E3 whenever they present anything.
I want to throw this one out here too for anybody because I was reading up on this. I'm not sure how soon this is going to be. Because there's no word on it. But from what I understand, we may be getting an online Fallout.
Okay.
An MMO Fallout. And, Fallout is one of the biggest fucking followed series in video games today.
Oh, Fallout 3 is, in my opinion, just like one of the top 100 video games ever made.
3 and New Vegas. I know New Vegas is criticized for its ending.
And I remember when it got released, it had some glitches and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna say those glitches never went away. Like I actually, when in the middle of playing, sometimes my system would freeze because of Fallout. It was only Fallout.
I will say this: I feel like Fallout 3 had more care put into it than New Vegas. Like 3 had a lot of work put into it, and it was so groundbreaking when it came out that
here's the thing. I think they put a lot of work into New Vegas. I think they rushed delivery, like they always do. Every fucking system, or every developer, they rush the release, and it gets ruined.
Mass Effect 3, people.
Mass Effect 3 for you.
Work on your fucking ending a little bit more. Don't get it released early in the year. There's no reason that Mass Effect 3 couldn't have waited till the end of the year to get released, and you could have tweaked some of those problems that people were having with the game.
But for everybody who knows, Bethesda always delivers to us. Next year we'll be getting Prey 2, which I am very excited for. I almost want to say Bethesda has something to do with Dishonored, but I don't, maybe not. I might be imagining that one. Nope, it's Bethesda. That's being published by them anyway, developed by Arcane. So yeah, Bethesda. I knew it looked Bethesda-like. I'm getting tired of saying that fucking word.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for E3 because we're gonna have a lot more to talk about that later.
Yeah, got a couple days left of that, so whatever.
Yeah, and next time we record, there'll be a lot more.
Yeah.
To go on about, but so far it's been cool. Some other stuff going on, I guess. I guess we're coming up soon on some movie releases, like Prometheus is Friday.
Prometheus.
And
I have to see Snow White.
Did you go see it yet?
No.
Okay. Well, shit, you're about to get to that point where you're going to have to make a decision.
Well, it's just going to be Prometheus.
Well, that's okay. And yes, if people are wondering, we are doing a review of Prometheus. So, it'll be our second review. We reviewed The Avengers, and now we're reviewing Prometheus. I don't know if it's going to be a big... Like, The Avengers review, there was 4 of us, and that was a bigger movie than this.
And Prometheus will probably just be us.
Yeah, Prometheus will most likely just be us. I might get someone else on, but it's not likely.
I might get Josh to go see it with me, but I don't know if he's even excited for the movie.
He was, like when we saw the trailers and shit, he was.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how he feels about it.
I don't know. Hopefully we get someone else. Maybe Matthew. I'm not sure though. The only time, I think the next big reviews we're going to have, the only ones is Spider-Man and Batman are the only 2 I can say that there'll probably be 4 people on for.
Yeah.
Just because we're all going to go see those because of their comic book movies. Beyond that, though, the other movies of the summer, I don't know, really. I might see one, and George might see one. But we are...
I'm pretty sure we're both going to see Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So I'm sure we'll at least talk about Vampire Hunter. I want to see Rock of Ages. I think you do too.
Yeah, I'm interested. I don't want to pay a lot of money to go
and
see
Savages.
It. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to see Savages.
When is Savages coming out?
I don't know, actually, and I just saw a trailer for it on TV the other day.
It looks like July 6th.
It looks like Oliver Stone's comeback movie. I'm very
no,
excited.
that makes no sense. Or does it? Does July 6th make sense as a movie release date? Yes, it does. It's a Friday.
Yeah, any time in July.
Yeah, it's a go release date, July 6th. Yep, that's it.
Does it come out at the same time as Spider-Man?
I think so. So we have you. Apparently we're doing a double play that day.
We're double dipping. That's what we're doing. Well,
we're gonna have to.
Now that my theater's got this, like if you go from 4 to 5:30, you only have to pay $5.50 a ticket. That's how I'm fucking going to see every movie now.
And I may just start going to movies alone because my girlfriend does not. I can't rely on her to go see movies with me.
Going to movies by yourself is underrated. I've seen movies by myself before.
Hey, you know what? And the best part is, there's no one's there going, "Who's that? What's that? What's going on? What did I miss?"
I don't want to sound sexist here because I'm really not, but women have a thing where they like to talk more at a movie than a man
She
does.
is constantly talking when they're at the movie. I don't care. It's not sexist. It's a fact. I go to movies with my girlfriend. She talks the whole way through them.
I mean, we went with your friend to the Avengers, and she was just doing these things, reactions, talking, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I didn't care, but at the same time, I'm like, why are you doing that?
She's psychotic.
Why are you so overreacting to such...
Sorry. Women in movie theaters, maybe there should be a separate theater.
I mean, the only thing worse is black people at the movies, and I'm sorry, I'm talking from experience.
So would I be.
Yeah, I'm talking from clear experience. And
Origins Wolverine. I had a black guy laughing whenever Wolverine found his supposed wife dead, but not dead.
I laughed at that too because it was fucking horrible writing.
Listen, I'm not saying it wasn't, but I was sad for Wolverine.
It would be annoying if somebody's like, Batman Begins was my worst. It was this black couple sitting beside me, and they talked throughout the whole damn movie for 2.5 hours.
This dude, though, he was like, oh shit, son! And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Seriously, don't make yourself a stereotype. Don't do it. Don't. You're just making things worse for everyone when you do that shit. That's all I'm saying.
You're just making people racist.
Yeah, calm down the stereotypes, people. Oh, also we gotta bring her from the MTV Movie Awards. I'm sorry they didn't bring this up. Emma Watson was looking fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that.
I want to see her Harry Potter, is what I'm saying. I mean, I've often said I always thought she was attractive, and it's okay for me to say that because she's the same age as me. So when the first Harry Potter film came out, I was her age, and I thought she was a cute girl when I was 11. And it just kept growing with the years. So by the time we got around to Deathly Hallows Part 1 and she'd become a woman, I was like, okay, Emma.
You were on this train?
Yeah, I was like, let's do this. And then the last couple movies, she was looking fine as hell. And I want to be in a tent with her in the middle of the woods for like 6 months. But apparently Ron and Harry are gay, because they didn't even attempt anything. Harry's like, oh, Hermione, let's dance. Sorry. I'm sorry, that's gay. I mean, just imagine sitting in the theater. This is me in the theater at Deathly Hallows Part 1. Frustrated. Harry's in a tent alone with Hermione. They're thinking that they're in a hopeless world. They're gonna probably die. No one else is there. Harry and her look deeply into each other's eyes.
And they dance.
And Harry, any other guy in the world, like any other 17-year-old boy, which is what Harry's supposed to be, even though Daniel Radcliffe looked 30, would be going like, Hermione, we're friends. Let's comfort each other. Naked. No, but Harry's like, let's dance! That'll make our pain go away! And it's an awkward fucking scene where Hermione and Harry dance to like this weird pop song that comes out of nowhere. And I was just disappointed. I just wanted to jump in the screen and grab Harry by the neck and like, God damn it, Harry, you faggot! Fucker, Harry! So, I don't know. It pissed me off.
We're not homophobes here, just for the clarification, since he just randomly had to bust out faggots.
I'm sorry, but Harry Potter made me question his sexuality many times throughout that series. Many times. And that was probably the peak of it. I'm like, listen, just because you've kissed girls a couple times, that doesn't mean you're not gay, Harry. I need a little bit more confirmation here. Just a little bit. And I have a theory, and it's a fan theory, but I still believe it, that Voldemort is gay, so thus because part of Voldemort's soul is in Harry, that makes Harry gay in a way. Because we never saw Voldemort with a woman. Just saying.
Alright.
Hey, if Dumbledore can randomly be gay because J.K. Rowling says so can Voldemort. Sorry. J.K. Rowling opened up the doors that anybody in Harry Potter can be gay. But basically Emma Watson was looking hot as hell. She's just getting better looking with age.
Fine fucking wine.
Fine fucking wine. That's true. And, I just had to pull it up. She accepted an award because they won Best Cast, and then Harry won Best Hero, and the other two weren't there, but she was there. I don't know why Rupert Grint wouldn't show up. What the fuck's he doing?
Yeah, right.
It's like, really? Rupert Grint didn't show up? The fuck? Which makes me think, George, have you followed the show at all, Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis on HBO?
No.
Well, he's from the Harry Potter series, and he was the Leprechaun, and he was in Star Wars. And it's like, he's throwing this party at his new apartment, and he's trying to get celebrities to come. So he calls Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe hangs up on him. He calls Emma Watson to come to his party at his house. She hangs up on him. And then he gets a phone call, and he sees it's from Rupert Grint. He answers. Rupert Grint says, I heard you're having a party. And Warwick Davis says, I'm not having a party. And then he lies to Rupert Grint because he doesn't want Rupert Grint to come to his celebrity party. And that perfectly summed up how everybody feels about Rupert Grint.
Well, since we just had to make that joke, I had to pull up IMDb. Apparently he's doing a lot.
He was in a movie with Robert Sheehan.
I don't know, he just did Into the White, and now in post-production is Postman Pat the movie, and now filming is The Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman, and there are 4 movies in pre-production that he's in.
Those movies all sound shitty.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Apparently he's in movies.
But, yeah. I don't know why Rupert, but just saying, Emma Watson,
Hot as shit.
we love you. We love you.
We miss your random wardrobe malfunctions when you get out of vehicles.
Yes. Yes, we do. Alright, we've been going for a half hour. I guess it's time to jump into dun 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 Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, bitch?
Game of Thrones, bitch. Because guess the fuck what? Game of Thrones Season 2 ended on Sunday, and it was awesome!
It was
everything I wanted, and more. It fingered my asshole, and...
Now, of course, it did exactly what we knew. Blackwater was still the better episode.
You know what? I'm very close on that, to be honest with you.
I'm close on it, but overall, Blackwater still has to be the better episode.
Okay, because I was wondering if you were going to say by far Blackwater's better, because I gotta say, there was moments in the finale that I liked better than maybe any scene that I've so far seen in this entire...
I can't say by far, because when we had episode 10 of season 1, I'm sitting there, like, this episode's mostly boring. Baylor was awesome.
That's true. I think the season finale of episode 1 was very underwhelming following Baylor.
Season finale of season 1.
Yeah, except for the final scene, which is badass.
Which is the dragon birth.
Yeah.
And of course, how we end season 2? Dragons, and then, white fucking walkers.
I just gotta say that, like, I mean, we gotta talk about the episodes leading up to the finale a little bit, but there was so much in this finale that I loved. Every scene, the music, the acting, the dialogue. The
dialogue was amazing.
I don't know how they did it. I'm gonna say it. They made me like Theon again.
You know,
they pulled me back in. The actor was fucking great. He only had
great, but I felt bad. Like I feel like Theon's gonna get thrown off a fucking rocky cliff.
He only had 2 scenes, and they were both powerful as shit.
Yeah, after what I've done, I can't try to be anyone else.
And the actor, he used to annoy the shit out of me in season 1. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, he is good. He's damn good. And then he gives, like, this amazing speech, and it's so good that even though he gets knocked out by his own men, they still acknowledge it was a good speech. What is dead king? Not ever die! I mean, he gives this amazing speech that, like, had me revved up that I thought Theon was gonna lead his men into a bloody battle. I mean, I was pumped. It was great dialogue, and the actor nailed it. And I was like, man, Theon has some balls.
You know, what I want to know is, 500 men sitting outside that city, and you're telling me that they gave them time to burn the city down first?
I know. I was trying to wonder, it's like, what, is the North just out there waiting, like, like fucking biting their fingernails? Like, God, I wish they would come out already.
Yeah, right?
Like, 500 men and there's only 20 in there? You fucking go in there and kill them.
Exactly.
There's no, I mean, maybe they didn't know the circumstances, maybe they didn't know who was in there.
Well, I mean, everybody still believed that they had, Bran and the little kid, I forget his name, held captive.
The one Stark child that, like, barely has any screen time.
I think he's gonna. I feel like season 3 is gonna give him a lot more.
I hope so, because right now I'm like, man, I don't even know your name. Like, really, I'm just like, you barely talk, you don't do anything.
So I want to say this. I just randomly brought this up. They have the list of season 3 up, and most of them are all like 3.1, 3.2. Episode 7 is the only one with a name. Season 3 of episode 7 will be called Autumn Storms.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me because I thought it's supposed to be winter. I'm just saying.
Have they been lying to us? I gotta say though, I mean, there was maybe 2 things that didn't work for me in the whole finale, but for the most part, the fucking, the music, like I said, the acting. Finally, they gave, what's your name, Daenerys? Finally, they gave her something to do that was interesting.
Yeah, because I was getting really fucking tired of the Targaryen bitch.
Everything she did in this episode, I loved.
Exactly.
The House of the Undying, the dragons. I
want to say stop until we get to it. I want to actually, let's start this from the start.
Okay.
Or from the halfway point.
We need to start at what, episode 6?
6.
Okay, what was episode 6?
Old Gods and the New.
What was this one about? You're gonna have to remind me.
Theon completes his master stroke, which I don't know what that means.
I know what that means. No. Now, if I remember correctly, didn't at the time we think episode 6 was the best episode?
Yeah, we got very excited because King's Landing, the Lannisters send Marcella from harm's way.
Right.
Yes, we love this episode because of Tyrion, because Tyrion and what's her face?
Yeah.
Cersei.
Yeah,
They
Cersei.
got into it, and we always love their dialogue battle.
Yeah, I just remember this episode is one where when it was over, you were texting me like, "Is this the best episode yet?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, that was perfection."
And this is where we get Arya, and we get the start of Arya and what's his face, Tywin.
Yeah, and
That's the start of their dialogue, which we gushed over for all episodes that it was involved.
And did they introduce the guy yet? The guy I can't.
Jacket.
Yeah, Jaqen. Who is? I gotta say,
we're getting Jack in here.
I think one of my all-time favorite characters so far in the show by far.
I think in this episode actually.
Okay, yeah, Jaqen, where his dialogue is amazing. Like, a man makes requests. You ask a question to a man takes a lot. Like just his dialogue and the way he delivers it.
And that's a big thing to talk about in 10.
Yeah, which we have to talk about some in 10 that just like freaked me the fuck out with him. I can't actually remember specifics of this episode. I just remember really loving it, and at the time I was saying it was like the best episode of season 2.
Well, this is when Jon goes with Corrin to in their little party to try and find some wildlings and kill their asses.
Yeah. Yeah, this was before Jon Snow's whole plotline got really boring. For me, at least.
Now, here's my confusion, is, it says Robb and Catelyn receive crucial news, but I don't remember what in episode 6.
Maybe this is when they found out that Theon took over Winterfell.
Would that have been in episode 6?
Probably, because I think he did it in episode...
Yeah, because in episode 7, Theon leads a search party, so...
Yeah.
That's exactly when Theon takes Winterfell.
Yeah, which... This was a point where, made us hate Theon again, we were starting to like, but it was really well done. I mean, they did everything at Winterfell great. Robb's reaction to it was great. Theon had... I hate to say this, out of anybody this year who really had the most interesting character arc, looking back on it, I think it was Theon.
Yeah, because we didn't get enough from Robb Stark to be happy.
Apparently in the books, from what I've heard, Robb gets even less. So, we're huge Robb Stark fans. I mean, I don't know, I haven't read the books, but I read a lot of people who have read the books. Apparently Robb doesn't get a lot to do in the second book, and because he became so popular, they really extended his role within the show. And I'm like, okay. Like, apparently his romance in the show is barely in the books. He just shows up one day with a wife.
Well, that'll be great.
Yeah.
I really want to know what's going to happen in season 3 for that.
And apparently, there's Robb Stark in the book. For what I've heard, though, he's really not in it that much. And in the show, he was spread out in small doses, but his presence was throughout season 2.
Yes.
And
because even if he wasn't in the episode, Tywin was bitching about him.
Yeah, or they were talking about him at King's Landing. I mean, he was never not talked about. His presence was always felt.
Yes.
So, I gotta say, Theon Greyjoy, hated him in season 1. They made me like him in season 2. Then they made me hate him again in season 2. And then at the end of the season, they brought it back around and made me like him again. And even though he does these awful things, I feel sympathy for him deep down.
Because he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, it's an identity crisis.
And I like that, because you don't get a lot of identity crisis in shows. No. Except, like, the biggest identity crisis, I'm going to think of here is Vegeta. He's supposed to be like the powerful Prince of Saiyans, and he always feels second best.
Comparing him to Vegeta is not wrong at all. He does work like Vegeta, because Vegeta was a character that you kept going back and forth on, that even though he really was an asshole, you knew there was good in him, and you really wanted to like him. And sometimes you would love Vegeta, and then sometimes his ignorance would just piss you off.
And he always felt like less, even though he always wanted to be more.
And yeah, Theon Greyjoy is such a complex character this season, and the actor, I don't know his name, but he really kind of stepped up, and he made kind of an unlikable guy fascinating. Every time Theon was on screen the second half of the season, I liked every scene that he was in.
Theon, Alfie Allen.
Alfie Allen, kudos to you, my friend, because you're having to play a hard character to play. This could not be an easy job to do, because the character has to come off likable while still being a total asshole.
You know, it's funny you say that.
That's not easy to do.
We always laugh about how good Jack Gleason has to be as Joffrey.
Right.
And I read an interview somebody had with Sophie Turner, who is Sansa.
Yeah.
And she said she feels so bad for Jack Gleason because apparently he's like very nice in person.
I've read that before too, that he's really nice.
And she says she does not know how he comes off as such a prick, basically, in every episode, and he delivers it so perfectly.
The craziest thing about it is that he's so nuanced about it and stuff too. Like, he adds this subtlety to Joffrey, even with his eyes and stuff, where
he does. He looks at everything like he's passionate about what he's saying,
yeah.
But he's so fucking sadistic, and it's what we love about him. We hate Joffrey, but we love him.
This just stands the point that we said about Game of Thrones 4. This has some of the best acting from, like, young actors that
exactly.
Even it's Bran, right?
Yeah, Bran.
Wonderful young. I mean, he was
Isaac Hempstead, right?
Wonderful young actor. And the girl who plays the other star, Arya. Amazing young actress. I mean,
Williams.
Yeah, she's an amazing. I mean, I don't know how old she is, but she.
Yeah, I think she's the same age as her character. I think she's like 12.
For a kid, holy shit.
Oh no, sorry, she's 15.
Okay, well, she looks 12. She does a good job of looking younger than what she is. She doesn't look 15 to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Great job. And, yeah, Jack Gleason is Joffrey, but let's move on to episode 7. What was episode 7?
Episode 7, A Man Without Honor. That's when Jaime is in his cage and he meets his fucking cousin.
Okay.
His face in.
We have to bring this up again. We hated Jaime Lannister, and somehow they turned it around.
We love him now.
They've made him, he is the Sawyer of Game of Thrones. Sawyer from Lost. He even looks like Josh Holloway, and this is not me just saying this. George.
I agree.
He looks a lot like Josh Holloway, especially with that beard and shit. And I almost picture him, man, he could have played Sawyer and vice versa. I mean, they're almost identical acting styles to what Josh Holloway did as Sawyer. And man, his dialogue, I mean, I know George wasn't as hot for this line as I was, but there was this line where he talks about this guy, the guy was the painter, and he only painted in red, and it gave me a boner. I loved it. And everything he said was funny, but he's still a total asshole.
It seems so insightful. Like, he was actually being sympathetic towards the kid, and then, next thing you know, I'm gonna beat your face in with a fucking rock.
I know! It's like, son of a bitch, dude. I mean, that's the thing about Jaime Lannister. He charms you, but you don't realize it's just this brutal killer underneath.
That's what he is, too. This is also the episode where Dany's dragons are taken.
Right. Your dragons wait for you at the House of the Undying.
Oh, God. Mother of dragons.
Yeah,
Can we just say those are the two most said things in this episode?
Yes. Mother of Dragons.
Mother of Dragons.
In fact, there's even a drinking game that every time it's said in an episode you have to drink. Which is...
God, that would be brutal. Well, now that I'll say now that guy's dead. Too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Thank God.
Well, too bad for the drinking game.
Yeah. You're gonna have to come up with some new shit for season 3. That's all I'm saying.
Let's see. Jon starts chasing after that fucking redheaded wildling chick that we don't know why he's not banging when she's offering it up.
I know. I would have hit the shit out of that in that cold weather.
I don't know. I'm a little iffy on it because from the way she talks, she sounds like she's had 150 dudes plowing the shit out of her.
Hey, who cares? He already got fucked by her anyway, just in a different way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although I gotta say right now, to me, the end of the season, the person who had the most disappointing story arc was Jon Snow. His shit went nowhere for me.
Pretty much. I mean, season 3 really better pick that up for me.
I mean,
I guess I'm gonna read the book this summer, so we'll find out.
I love Jon Snow. I'm not dogging the character. I'm a fan of Jon Snow. I just am not liking what they do.
It was a very boring arc for the second half of the season.
Yeah, he started off really interesting this season with this really interesting location, and they just kind of quit focusing on the Night Watch and what was going on. They just kind of went, oh, well, here's Jon Snow walking with this chick. That's about it. And every time they cut to him, I was like, cut back to some other shit. What's Robb doing? oh, Rob's fucking like the hottest girl ever on this show. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for showing me her ass. Which, was this episode 8 that happened in?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just move on to episode 8 because I want to say once again...
Actually, yeah, it was 8.
Alright, let's move on again. This was a point where we were starting to realize they were improving week by week because we also said at the time episode 8 was our favorite episode.
We said episode 6, best episode yet. Episode 7, best episode yet. 8, best episode yet. 9, what the fuck was that best episode yet?
In particular, there was a love scene between Robb Stark and, what's her name? You remember her name?
Oh, God.
Okay.
I'm barely sure she has a fucking name.
Okay, it's a woman that Robb falls in love with, and basically they shouldn't be together because he's promised himself to someone else. And he just can't help it. And they have this dialogue scene with this music that's really powerful, and they just kind of, it slowly builds to them making love, and it doesn't come off like gratuitous sex or nudity at all. It comes off really romantic and sincere. And me and George were both, quite frankly, moved by it.
It's pretty intense.
It was, and that whole episode, I remember now, episode 8 was just all character-driven and dialogue. It was no action, there was no violence. All I remember was, it was scenes like that where two characters would be sitting in a room, like Tyrion, and they would have a dialogue building up to Blackwater, and it would be just this really powerful lines of dialogue and music, and I just remember, like, really loving, but let's skip through all that. Let's get to the big episode, Blackwater, which is going to go down as probably the most popular episode so far of the show.
I'm sorry, did you just completely skip over episode 8?
No, I talked about it a little bit. I just said let's get to Blackwater.
There's one thing we got to talk about with episode 8.
Okay.
And, well, it's more of a chain from 6 to 10. And that's the Jack and Arya deal.
Yes.
He owes her 3 lives because she saved 3 lives.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the first life called, no big deal. It was the torturer for Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Second name was supposed to be this. She wanted this guard dead who had found out that she was going to try sending a letter. I think it was a letter. She had taken something from Tywin.
Yeah.
And one of his lead guards finds her and takes the letter off of her, and he's going to report her. And she immediately tells Jack, and this guy needs to die right now.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't like being told that. He doesn't like being given a time. And instead, he ends up having a poison dart in the guy's neck right as he gets to Tywin's door.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. But then we get the third name, which she tells him she wants Tywin dead because he's going to go and try to take Robb Stark. Or at least that's the way he says it. And when Jack refuses, she gives him his own name.
Which is what a Stark does. She's smart.
Yeah, she is brilliant. I love the way she handles this. So when he asks her to take back his name, she does, but only so he will get her and Gendry and the little fat kid out of Harrenhal.
Take her version of Sam.
Yeah, basically. Except I think Sam's a little more useful.
Yeah, which isn't saying much at all, but...
Not a bit.
But the thing about the Jaqen character is, this is them are perfect casting. That guy who plays him, awesome. And his stuff, everything with Arya was so good this year between Tywin, but then add the Jaqen stuff, and you have just 2 separate things that are awesome with her.
Straight up, Arya has some of the best dialogue throughout the series.
Just
not so much in season 1, except for when she's with her dance instructor.
They keep putting her with all these cool characters. Like, yeah, our dance instructor was a great character.
And apparently he and Jaqen are from the same place. Bravos, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jaqen is from Bravos, and apparently Bravos people are some magical fucking people that are just Jaqen's family.
Because yes, in the season finale, he talks about a faceless man.
He goes, a man needs a new face. And he looks down, away from Arya, and looks back at her, and he has a new fucking face.
Which just, like, made me go, what?
I'm like, I like this guy. He is magical.
I was not expecting that. It was one of those things where I forgot that there was magic in this universe until they did that, and I was like, oh shit, that's right.
Well, when we... you know what? We need to talk about Blackwater before we get to finale.
Okay,
So
Blackwater...
I'm happy.
Blackwater, hyped episode, the battle sequence. A lot of book readers were worried that they were going to cut the battle down because, you can't film I'm sure it was like a long battle in the book, and you have an hour to do it in a TV show, but best fucking episode of the show. They brought in a movie director, I want to say his name's Neil Jordan. They brought him in to direct it. And George R. R. Martin, the writer of the books, came in to write the episode. Had great drama, had great music, great acting, great action scenes. It felt like you were watching a Lord of the Rings movie or something.
Who did you say the director's name was?
I want to say it was Neil Jordan.
Neil Marshall.
Neil Marshall, who directed like The Descent and Dog Soldiers and stuff like that. He's an experienced director, and you could tell that it was a film director opposed to a TV director.
It was wonderful.
Basically, this guy just got himself some work working on some big movie after doing this episode. I don't say it was to me Tyrion's best episode. He stepped up and became a great man. To where if I didn't love Tyrion 100% before, I fucking loved him more than I ever could.
He is the most important part of the Lannisters winning this battle, I think. Well, other than the end.
Yeah, and honestly, anything I had questioning Tyrion and who he was, all that went out the window. Tyrion is a good person. He's just in a shitty situation.
Essentially, Tyrion, Bronn, and the fucking alchemist who made a bunch of wildfire single-handedly wiped out half of Stannis' soldiers.
The wildfire scene. I remember book readers were upset that the wildfire wasn't going to be green just for budget reasons. It was. It was green, it was a great special effects shot, and it was a great intense moment. Like, it's like, turn the boats! They blow up the fucking boat, wildfire everywhere, green fire.
I want to say the moments leading up to this were the most intense of the episode. Because you're sitting there...
Let's give them some music back.
Yeah, the drums! Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome! I'm getting pumped up! Getting me ready for this battle. Wait, why the fuck's there only one ship? What's going on? Anybody want to tell me why there's one ship?
This made me so glad that I wasn't... This made me so glad that I wasn't a book reader, because if I'd read the books, I feel that moment would have been killed for me. The suspense building up to that moment.
Exactly. It would not have been nearly as exciting.
I'm sorry, because I feel that way. I'm not a book reader, and I just know that some of you out there are book readers, you have to be somewhat disappointed when you watch these scenes, because it's like when Ned Stark got his head cut off in Season 1.
Oh, God, why do you have to say it like that?
Well, it sucks, because imagine if you read the books and you knew that was coming. You would respect how they did it in the show, but at the same time, you would know what's going to happen. When me and you were watching that freaked us the fuck out.
Yeah, we were a little upset.
It became like the biggest thing on... that episode solidified Game of Thrones as a legendary television series because they killed off, like, the main character within the first season.
Yep.
And this wildfire scene is up there with that scene when it comes to just, like, a great moment that just blows your mind. And then they followed up with this really well done... it wasn't hugely epic.
Absolute battle scene, though.
Yeah, it did stuff that the Lord of the Rings movies do, like showing people get cut in half and shit.
It's not like... In so many battles that we get in Game of Thrones, we get everyone's charging at each other, fade to black. Oh, hey, look, everyone's dead.
Or two guys fighting.
It's what we got whenever we had Robb Stark invade the Lannister camp.
Yeah.
And it's what we got in the season finale of first season.
Yeah, we haven't really got a big battle yet, but this one finally...
So, yes, this gave you what you wanted. And I'm not disappointed in any way. I know book readers are probably bitching about something. Suck it.
I even went to websites where people were book readers. Everybody just kept saying that was the best episode of Game of Thrones. Like people who weren't even hot on season 2 were saying that episode was so well done.
I'm thinking because it was so focused on the battle, there's nothing else to be said except for they were loyal to the battle because they gave you a full hour of the battle.
Not even just that. they were doing great drama. Whenever they cut back to the insides,
Cersei and Sansa's dialogue.
Amazing dialogue. Every dialogue bit in there was great. Every scene was great. Didn't you feel like you were watching a movie and not a television show?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is one of the few shows I can honestly say that for. Like, I felt like when I was watching the last Harry Potter movie where there was these action scenes, and then they would do these dramatic moments like when Harry uses the Resurrection Stone to see his family. They were cutting to these dramatic moments inside, and then they would go outside to the battle, and then have these quiet moments with, like, Tyrion. And they were just, it was so balanced perfectly between intimate moments and then huge, like, a big explosion or somebody getting cut in half. And it just, I don't know, it was so focused and well made and paced that it was probably the most entertaining hour of television I've seen in a long time.
I agree.
And my only complaint, me and George both kind of shared this, I did not like the last 10 seconds.
Because they rushed it.
They rushed the shit out of it. The last scene is beautiful. She's with her son, and she's basically gonna kill her son. So they don't come in and fucking slaughter them. And
because had Tywin not shown up to win this battle, Lannisters would have been all fucking dead.
And she's giving this great, she's telling the story. It's a tense scene, and then Tywin shows up, wins the day, and then just walks in the door and just like, the battle's over, we have won, and it cuts to black and it's over. And it all happens like really fast.
Yep.
And what's sad is because everything building up to that last scene was amazing. There's a scene where Tyrion, who survives someone trying to murder him, gets a slash on his face, is laying there bleeding, looking, and it's like Saving Private Ryan's slow motion moment. This music's playing. She's telling the story. They're showing the battle. Stannis is yelling like, "No, keep fighting. Don't retreat." I mean, it is probably the single greatest moment, like single greatest minute of Game of Thrones. It was a beautiful.
My confusion is the Lannisters were strictly Lannisters. That was their army. And then what? The Tyrells have that many men, that many bannermen, that they just suddenly were able to take over Stannis' 100,000 men?
Honestly, I don't know. It was kind of, it was a little confusing. They really rushed the last final victory of the battle. Everything else made sense, but then once Tywin showed up, I was like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Like, he just showed
up. But when they had initially said that the Tyrells had fled whenever Stannis took all of Renly's men,
yeah,
I thought only the Tyrell children left, not all of the bannermen.
Yeah.
I did not get that impression.
We gotta talk about some great moments, though. Bran and the Hound, or is it Bronn? Bronn and the Hound have the scene before the battle where they're kind of having a pissing contest and drinking, and it is great. And it looks like Bronn's ready to go, like, throw down with the Hound.
Oh, he's ready, clearly. He's gripping his dagger.
And it's an intense scene. You're kind of like, oh, fuck. And then later there's a scene with the Hound where
he's freaked out because he sees fire, and everybody knows the Hound story. He's afraid of fire because the mountain threw him in fire.
And the scene with the Hound is just everything with him's great. Like we said, Tyrion, great, goes out into battle, leads the men. He's just like, I'll lead the charge because he realizes he has to because Joffrey once again turns into a little fucking pussy.
Yep.
And runs inside to hide. And I have nothing but praise for it. If every episode could be that good, this would be the greatest show of all time.
I'm pretty sure it's still the greatest show of all time for me.
Honestly, it's shooting up my list. It's gonna at least have to have 2 more seasons.
How long does it have to be to still beat Lost?
Well, Lost isn't my favorite show of all time. It's like in the top 10. But if this has at least 2 more seasons that are at this quality, it probably will become like my favorite show of all time. It'll fight for the top spot. Unless it has a really shitty last season somehow that just disappoints me in every way.
I think there's something we've been ignoring in the last 4 episodes we've been talking about, and that's Brienne.
Yeah.
Brienne is this ogre woman who is now in the service of Catelyn because, obviously, in Season 1, Renly dies.
You know what? I like her, too.
I do, too.
Yeah.
She's a pretty sick character. She is a beast.
Yeah, she's not an attractive woman by any
No,
stretch of the
no.
imagination. I mean, it's almost an insult to call her a woman, to be honest.
But she is transporting Jaime Lannister to King's Landing, trying to negotiate to get the Stark daughters
And
back.
honestly, everything with the two of them has been great. I mean, for me, like, they're kind of like having this buddy.
Yeah, well, she's just trying to ignore him, but Jaime's just trying to get a rise out of her.
But I think they're finding some kind of common respect for each other.
Well, okay, this is why I'm saying Jaime keeps saying all this bad stuff about the Starks because of all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
And they came across in the season finale. They come across 3 women's bodies hanging from trees, and they said, and I guess written on their clothes it said they fight with the Lannisters.
Yeah, and basically she's definitely very strong towards females. Like she probably definitely represents like a feminist point of view for the show because, you know, she doesn't like to see women mistreated like this.
Yeah, and I honestly, this is easily, possibly the best scene of the episode for me because.
Well, we're already skipping ahead of the finale. Are we done with Blackwater?
I mean, we've talked about Blackwater. You've got to the end of Blackwater.
Okay, well, we're just saying Blackwater was great.
We loved Blackwater.
Yeah,
I'm not saying we didn't.
It's going to be like when the show's finally over one day and we're ranking the best episodes of all time. I highly doubt Blackwater's not going to be on the list.
Yeah. Now Valar Morghulis.
Now we're moving on to the season finale, which is a huge step up for me from season 1 season finale, which was a good finale. Don't get me wrong, season 1 had a really good finale of
it wasn't. It obviously wasn't episode 9.
No, this episode for me was on par with the best.
Yeah.
And I know some people didn't feel that way that I read, but I don't give a shit because for me, almost every scene hit. I texted you within the first 20 minutes it told you I was so invested into what was going on.
Yeah, you were sold.
Immediately I was sold on this episode.
Theon, this episode basically starts out they call Tywin the savior of the city.
Honestly, the first scene kicks your ass because it not only does it fuck everything up, and it not only does it change everything up in King's Landing, it changes everything up for Joffrey.
Tyrion's no longer Hand of the King.
Yeah, it fucks Tyrion over bad. I mean, and he even has this line where he's just like, you know, you don't want to swim with a drowning man, because Tyrion gets fucked in this episode, one thing after another. And
I hate Pycelle.
Yeah, I do too. And you get to see Tyrion's face like unwrapped, and Peter Dinklage really has to cry and be sad in this scene. And he does a really good job. I mean, it's probably the most melodramatic that Tyrion's ever had to be as a character.
And it's almost hard to watch.
Yeah, because you don't like to see Tyrion be that way because he keeps up a surface.
I love Tyrion, so this is definitely hard for me.
Yeah, because he did so much in Blackwater, and it's completely binged.
I knew he was gonna get dicked over because I had read it already.
It was still hard to watch, though. It was kind of hard to watch to see Tyrion get fucked over.
For all book readers, I know that Tyrion gets fucked over more and more and more and more.
Seriously. And you know what? One thing that they did really well with Tyrion this episode, though, they really showed his character because he said, you know, I want to go with you. You know, he has an opportunity to leave.
He says, I want to leave this place, but these people, this game, it's who I am. I love it.
It almost summed up the show in the fact that these people have chances to get out of this conflict, but they stay in it because
it's who they are.
Yeah, it's what they love, and they enjoy the game that's played. They enjoy the idea of war. They enjoy this back and forth and all this bullshit. That is what the show's made of. They enjoy the soap opera. And Tyrion kind of summing that up was like, well, yeah, I guess that is what Game of Thrones is. It kind of summed up what the show is.
Yep.
And for that being in the season finale, that was pretty well done. But like we already talked about Theon scene, so we'll just say Theon stuff was great.
Theon was awesome. Then we get, what was it?
Rob's wedding. Which
hold on, before that, Master Luwin dies.
Which
this is upsetting for me. I like Luwin as a character. Obviously, apparently, it was his time.
It was sad. It was easily a very sad scene, especially how they handled it. Where he was like, "I was there when I pulled you both out. I've been with you almost every day of your lives," and
fuck the Iron Islands.
Yeah, definitely fuck the Iron Islands. But are we not going to talk about Rob?
Oh, we're going to talk about. Well, this is a small mention, but also love it. Before his wedding, I want to talk about how he talks to his mother.
Okay.
Oh my God, I loved this. I laughed hysterically actually when I watched this scene, and he's talking to Catelyn about how he wants to marry this girl. He does not want to marry Walter Frey's daughter. I think it's Walter, right?
I think so too. And she's telling him like he's not a man to fuck over.
He's like, you cannot dick him over. You're being reckless. And Rob looks at her and goes, you are the last person to be allowed to tell anybody they're being reckless.
I just like how Rob doesn't put up with anybody's shit throughout this whole
Not
season.
even his mother. He's like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
She even brings up his
father.
She even brings up his father, and he says, my father is dead. Do you remember that?
That was harsh.
She tries to bring up Ned, and he's just like, listen, you gotta understand, he's not fucking here right now. We can't use him as a way to do what we need to do, because basically, because of the man he was, he died. And I can't make the mistakes that Ned made. It's one of those beautiful things, and I hate to do a geeky comparison like this. It's how I always felt about Dick Grayson and Batman, where there's a point in the comics where Bruce Wayne dies and Dick Grayson takes over as Batman. And he's great because he doesn't have those mistakes that Bruce Wayne makes because he has these problems and he's haunted by things. He's just as good as Bruce Wayne at everything else, but he doesn't have like that psychological trouble. So thus it makes him kind of a better Batman. And it was great to see Dick Grayson finally become Batman. They had to fuck it up and bring Bruce Wayne back. But the way Robb Stark is, it's like he's so much like his father, and yet there's so many ways where he's just, it's like he's a smarter, not as trusting, but he's still just as honorable as Ned Stark. He got the best quality of his father, and he didn't get any of the worst qualities of his father.
And he shouldn't be trusting, because obviously we see where that gets you.
Yeah, he learned a lesson. Would he have been that way if Ned hadn't died? I don't know. But since Ned died, he learned a lesson that day. He really did. It kind of, like we, the audience, learned a lesson in Game of Thrones. So did the characters, that no one is safe. You can't trust anybody. Everything's fucked up now, and you kind of just have to, stick to your guns. And Robb is pissed because his mother, the person he trusts, she even fucked him over.
She let Jaime Lannister free.
And, it's one of those things where it's just another complexity to the characters that they did a really good job this season. I will say the first season had more plot movement, like more things happened to move a plot forward, where this season was more character stuff being moved forward, while plot was there. Like, somebody pointed this out, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, not a lot happened up until the actual finale that actually sets up events for something else. A lot of it was people talking about things to happen, but it all added to where the characters are, because apparently in Book 3, which will be next season, that's when shit really starts to happen in this whole Song of Ice and Fire. This is when stuff really starts to move forward, and we really starting to get into the conflicts and the back and forth with the characters. And if this whole season was just a setup to give us to payoffs in Season 3, they did a fantastic job in the season finale on doing such a thing.
Yep.
And, my favorites, honestly, I even loved how they ended their scene. They played this great music score. They did the variation of the main theme, the dun-dun, but they did this new version of it, I think, kinda. And she was there, and she's like, enough to buy a ship. And then they kind of back the camera away.
A small ship.
Yeah, and they back the camera away and fade out with this music, like they were setting it up for it felt like you were watching the into a movie that was setting up a sequel. And it was a great scene, and I guess we're going to have to address some issues people at Book Readers said. I know a lot of people had a problem with the House of the Undying book readers, because we haven't read the books. Apparently there's a lot more to the House of the Undying in the book, and there's really only like 3 things in the show they did.
Yeah.
I just took them as metaphoric things. Like, all it made sense was, now, I don't know if you read this the same way I did. He brought her in there. First, he tried to tempt her with the throne to get her to stay. Then he tried to tempt her with Khal Drogo and her baby to stay. Then he just tried to keep her by keeping her locked up, because as long as she's there, he has his power. Because with her dragons, magic is returned. So,
And it has returned in a big fucking way.
so he wanted her there so his magic could be strong. He couldn't get her to stay with giving her what she wanted. So first he just tried to kidnap her, but that didn't work either because the bitch has dragons.
And those dragons have learned to take commands.
And
Dracarys is a good word to know if you ever have dragon babies.
so, and honestly, I even took something like, I don't know if you noticed this, when she was in the throne room and it was covered in snow, I took that as Jon Snow. But maybe that was just me.
Why'd you take that as Jon Snow?
I felt like it was kind of alluding to something with the throne room and Jon Snow. Because it was covered in snow, and I don't know, I just felt like they were trying to connect something. Because, like I told you, been these fan theories about Jon Snow going around for book readers since, like, the second book.
Yeah, but they've been saying that he's a Baratheon.
They've been saying he's a Baratheon, but the idea that he is, heir to the throne, or maybe hinting at that he will be on the throne, because at the end of the book series, whenever it ends, I don't know. I'm taking a wild guess. I think that if it's not Jon Snow, I have no idea who's going to be on the throne at the end, if anyone. Right now, if I had to bet money, like if I just had to take a random guess,
If I had to bet money, it'd be Daenerys.
I'm not giving it to her because I think that's too
Predictable.
I don't think it's predictable. I just think seeing her story build up from where she's at, and then if the final book has her there, I think that's not how George R. R. Martin's going to do it. He's not going to make it be that journey. He's going to make us think she's going to get to that point, and then it's not going to happen. Or she's just going to learn that it's not what she wants. She might learn eventually that she's in the wrong, because I think she's becoming almost a bitch with power.
I think she just learned a lesson that she needed to learn. I think she's been too naive so far, and now that she has
but she opens that vault and
there's nothing in it, and then she throws her ex-slave girl and the black dude in there,
which was brutal.
It was hardcore. She's leaving them there.
I actually felt bad for the slave girl.
She shouldn't have dicked him over.
I didn't feel bad for the guy, because I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy.
She shouldn't have just walked away from Dany.
But it was just, everything with her was great this episode. All the scenes everyone else was great. And then you think it's going to end with Dany again, like season 1. I mean,
and that's what it did. If had we not got an extra 10 minutes of that show, that's exactly what would have happened.
Because it was just a dragon screaming and the music playing, just like the end of season 1.
Instead, well, you know what? Before we talk about the end, I want to say this, because I started to tell the story, and then you cut me off because of the Blackwater thing. Brienne and Jaime in the season finale.
Yeah.
We get they land on shore and come across these 3 female bodies hung from a tree that says they were with the Lannisters. Brienne doesn't serve anybody here except for Catelyn, and that
which she clearly states.
She does not honor the Starks, and that she doesn't want to. And she keeps saying this to Jaime because Jaime keeps trying to say that she's with the Starks. Well, 3 Stark men come along, and she asks them if they gave the women quick deaths, and they go, 2 of them. And when they realize that they are not Stark people, Brienne has to kill them.
Honestly, the thing that's great about this scene is the way that her and Jaime work together, because they know that they're in a fuck situation.
Yes, and the big thing here is, though, that Jaime doesn't believe that Brienne has the swordsmanship that he does. He certainly doesn't think that she could be a match for him. But these 3 men attack her, or them, and she easily kills the first 2.
Oh, easily.
Quick deaths. And then the last one's laying on the ground, and she pushes the sword up through his dick.
And what does she say? She's like...
2 slow deaths.
Yeah. And
she waits until And she keeps that sword in there. Or yeah, 2 quick deaths. And then she keeps that sword in there until he's finally dead. And she makes that last. And then she just pulls it out.
It was a great scene between her and
Jamie standing there stunned.
His face.
Shit. Maybe this girl could take me.
Honestly, it just added so much to her character that I was just like, okay, this chick's a total badass.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a great thing to add.
Jamie, I think, like I said, they're growing respect for her. Jamie's growing respect for her. I mean, by far.
That's a big thing, because Jamie doesn't really respect anybody.
Everybody keeps telling me who reads the books. I've heard this, I've told you this, and we were both trying to figure out where the fuck they were coming from. Everybody kept telling me, you're really going to start liking Jamie. He has a great character arc to where he changes and you don't hate him anymore. Which me and you've been trying to figure out, like, how he's with the Lannisters and we hate them. Yeah, but I'm starting to see the early seeds of what could possibly.
Oh yeah, happen. we're getting that pre-look into it.
Yeah, that Jamie might start to look at things differently. He may be learning that he's not always right about shit. And it's, I don't know, it's just and he even, I mean, was this the episode where he was asking her if you're probably a virgin? Because, no man, I'm sure, every time a man tried to get with you, you beat the shit out of him, but deep down you really wanted one of them to get there and have sex with you. And then he was saying, like, untie me and I'll fuck you.
Was fucked up.
Jamie will say anything to get out of the situation. He's just trying to get untied. But yeah, now let's talk about the ending now, the final scene.
The final ending. We've got the 3 guys.
I just want to mention real quick, there's a scene with Jon Snow where he kills his commander. Well, a guy which was actually pretty sad, I thought.
It wasn't really the commander, because it wasn't Corrin.
No, it was a commander. It's just a guy who's above him, basically.
Yeah.
And he had to kill him, which, it was planned. But the look on his face when it happened, and the way the scene kind of played out I was sad about it when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, the final scene.
Final scene, we have Sam and the other 2 of John's friends in the watch.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of lately.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of them, except, every time we do, Sam's talking about, what is her name? Gilly or something?
Yeah, Gilly. He talks about her, like, all the time.
And, all of a sudden, the Night's Watch horn blows. And
at first they're not really worried about it.
Yeah, they're like, 1 or 2 horn blows, whatever. But as everybody has heard before, 3 horns means White Walkers.
Yep.
And next thing you know, the other 2 take off. Sam's fat ass fucks up, and
of course, fat guy can't run.
Behind a rock, which really doesn't help him anyway.
And then it becomes The Walking Dead.
No, you have an army of White Walkers, and it's very frightening.
Honestly, the lead of the White Walkers, like the commander or whatever,
ass.
Fucking creepy. I mean, it was a CGI-looking creation, or I don't know how they did it. It looked like CGI and makeup together. I don't know, but he looked great. Like I said, it's got this, like, Walking Dead zombie effect thing going on, but then once he shows up, you're like, and they have this zombie horse that is awesome. And Sam's just there, and then the camera backs away. It's like the end of Season 1, they backed away to show you the dragons. This was their big money shot of the end of Season 2, was the White Walkers. Like, just backing away, the music's playing, and you hear, like, screams.
It was intense, and, the only sad thing is, they didn't give us anything is coming. I mean, obviously, I guess White Walkers are coming. Or just war is here, I still suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long it takes till the White Walker stuff starts to get involved in the actual main story.
I don't think it's going to take them too long when they have a horde of the undead.
Yeah, because honestly, this scene just...
That horse with the skin fucking
That's what I said.
Off of it.
They had a zombie horse. It was fucking scary.
It was sick.
It was that horse from Walking Dead that got eaten in the first episode. That's where it went. It went to Winterfell. It went to the...
Horse went to Winterfell.
The
really?
Horse went to... Yes. That's what happened to it, George. It went to hell, and then it wound up in Winterfell. But yeah, just... awesome last special effect shot. Really showed you the money they're spending on the show. Hopefully they get a bigger budget for Season 3. And it came in, the ratings were the highest yet. It did 4.2 million, so it was the highest rated episode of the show.
And it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, so once again, last year the finale, the ratings averaged in 2-something million, and then the finale did 3, and then this whole season was over 3. So hopefully next season the ratings stay over 4 million per episode. Because they say if you combine it, they say if you combine all, like, everybody watching it, the reruns and stuff in one night, that it averages about 10 million viewers a night on Sundays. And apparently it's HBO's, like, biggest international show.
Yeah.
It's like people in, like, Europe and stuff watch the shit out of it. It's one of the which makes sense. So I guess we're not gonna run out of Game of Thrones anytime soon. I highly doubt the show's gonna get canceled.
Canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I highly doubt that the show's gonna get canceled anytime soon. I'm pretty sure that we're at least gonna get at least 3 more seasons. I don't know after that. We know they're probably gonna do the 3rd book, and they're doing.
Well, we have 5 books, and and book 3 is supposed to be 2 seasons.
Yeah, book 3 is supposed to be 2 seasons, which is great. We want that. We do. That way they can keep a lot of the stuff that the book fans want, because I don't want the book fans I don't want them to cut stuff out, because, apparently I heard the first season was incredibly low to the book, but if the 3rd book's really long, like 1,000 pages, that they have to split it up into 2 seasons, that's great, because that means that we can get more battle sequences and stuff where they don't have to cut them out, and they can spread it out. And then the 4th book, I think they said they weren't going to split that up into 2 seasons, so that'd be a 5th season. And then after that, I don't know, because he hasn't finished the books. There's the 5th book.
And apparently the 5th book is lacking story.
Yeah, from what I've heard, a lot of fans don't like the series as it goes on, like past the 3rd book. I've heard criticism of the 4th and 5th book from fans. I don't know, but I think it's like any book series, is that there's some books that aren't as good as other ones. I mean, Harry Potter fans know this. I don't think the series was at its best in the middle. But yeah, overall, what we gotta do over.
Hold on. I will be right back. I gotta go open my door. Josh is here.
Yay! Alright, people. I'm by myself. In the cold blackness. The loneliness. It's not space. It's not space. This is gonna be the boring part of the show where I'm just sitting here by myself. I'm sorry, people. Because Josh and George are gonna have gay sex. I'll have to wait. I don't want to wait for them to have gay sex.
Alright, Josh is not here. He's almost here, though.
Okay. Well, then let's just do, when Josh gets here, we'll have him say hi, I guess.
There's no point in that.
Yeah, okay, well, do you think this season was better than season 1?
Hands down.
You liked it a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and, overall, how do you feel this season ranks as TV shows go?
My favorite?
This was your favorite season of any TV show ever?
I'm gonna say yes.
It was up there for me. It ranks up there with, like, Sopranos Season 3 and Season 4 of Lost, and it was definitely one of my all-time favorites. I'm just more excited about Season 3 now than I ever have been.
Right?
Because it seems like they're going to get better every year. I don't know why. It's just like the more money they're going to get and the more they're going to be able to expand. The more these actors get to grow into their characters. This is a show that I just kind of hope never ends. I could watch it for 10 years. It's badass.
And I hope we get to.
Did you see that Spartacus is over?
Yeah, this is going to be the last season in January.
Yeah. I mean, just on a side note, it's not really important, but you watch it.
It is, yeah. I assume that means we're ending the episode right now.
Yeah,
Before we do that, I want to say, I don't know if anybody really goes to T-Fury, but, I finally got my shirts from the May grab bag, which gave me 2 randomly designed shirts for $6 each. One of my shirts was Pikachu getting electrocuted in a plug socket. The other, I got the Doctor Who Sons of Anarchy joke shirt.
Oh my.
Where it says Lords of Time, and underneath it says Gallifrey. And in the middle it has the phone booth, and it has 2 of the sonic screwdrivers. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure Josh is a little bit jealous.
You know, when you posted that, the comment I was going to leave is, I bet Josh is so jealous right now.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, God, she's so beautiful.
Does Emma Watson's shirt have lightning all over it?
I don't know, and I just looked on her IMDb. She was born in France.
Oh, well, I like her less now. She's still hot, though.
God, she looks gorgeous in that photo. She never looks better than she did. I like how we've come full circle. We're back.
We're back to Emma Watson. You know, the short hair really does work for her.
You know, she's grown it out a little bit, though. It was shorter than that a while back.
But I'm just saying, all the short hair in this, it works for her better than the long, I think.
Oh, I agree, but I like how she's got it kind of mid-length right now. It looks nice.
Yeah.
She had it really short, and then she had it, like this in-between, kind of where it's just like around her neck. Looking good. But yeah, let's just say this. We love Game of Thrones. I'm officially putting the cork in it. We are going to stop talking so much about Game of Thrones on this podcast.
Well, that's only until March.
Yeah, that's only until Game of Thrones comes around. So, people, we are retiring Game of Thrones, long Game of Thrones conversation. We could still make references, but we're stopping our long-ass conversations about Game of Thrones. We gotta start talking about other shit like the summer movie blockbusters and all that stuff. So, you're gonna have to wait a year for another Game of Thrones episode. Sorry. On the next one, though, we're going to do it upright. George will be caught up with the books. We'll get Matthew in on here on the books. I'll be here as the TV guy. We'll talk about the first half of season 3. So next year when Game of Thrones comes on, we're going to do a big Game of Thrones episode. And it'll be exciting. But so far, watch Game of Thrones, buy the DVDs and Blu-rays if they come out. Oh, fuck that. Buy the Blu-rays. Forget the DVDs. Support this show. We love it. We wouldn't have a podcast if we didn't have the show. We'd have nothing to talk about.
Clearly. Since it's only you and I now.
It would just be Dragon Ball Z conversations. That's all it would be. We even combined them today. You know, now that you brought up that Theon thing, now I'm tempted to go through and connect all the characters from Game of Thrones to their Dragon Ball Z counterpart.
Oh, God.
Joffrey's Trunks, not future Trunks, but Trunks when he's a kid.
No, he's not.
Little asshole Trunks.
No, he's not. He's not nearly that sadist.
That's true. Trunks was that big of an asshole. But, yeah, that was it. That was the Game of Thrones episode, and that's the end of Geek Meets World episode 10. So, to the people out there, farewell.
Suck it.
Yeah, suck it. That didn't sound right. We love you, Emma Watson. We love you.
Alright, man.
I want to watch Game of Thrones with Emma Watson.
I want to watch Emma Watson in Game of Thrones.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. That'd actually be pretty. Then she would just be in a tent, not doing anything for like 2 hours.
Well, you don't know. Maybe she'd be in Rob's tent.
Okay, I would. All right, that's the one. That's the one gratuitous. That's the one gratuitous sex scene I'd support. Like Robb Stark and Hermione Granger. And she's like, what world am I in now? And he's like, you're with the King of the North now.
All right.
That
is the end of this episode.
Yeah, sorry.
Good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance. Next time, fucking Prometheus.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully we can get Josh on that one.
Yep.
And, watch Game of Thrones. If you're not watching Game of Thrones, fuck you.
And remember, tell your friends, listen to this podcast.
Yeah, listen to this podcast. Also, listen to Good Morning Cybertron.
Oh, yeah, I guess we have to tell them that, too.
Yeah, just get that out. Good Morning Cybertron. They have a YouTube account, too. I think it's Good Morning Cybertron. They have a Facebook page. You can find them on our Facebook page at Geek Meets World Podcast, and YouTube, Geek Meets World, Vamion, V-A-M-E-O-N is the account, but if you enter in Geek Meets World, we should come up. And, support us, spread the word around, and,
Thank you!